So when we look at events like we saw last week, it's not unprecedented. They're rare. We see them, every 5, 10 years. And it usually happens right around the end of July. So once we move into August, we're usually kind of in that humidity and we'll start to see those daily rounds of thunderstorms. And then, by the end of the month, we're starting to see the monsoon pattern really start to retreat back to the south and we get into more fall weather.
What caused it to fall at the levels that it did here in Arizona and even New Mexico?
Yeah, well, the first ingredient was moisture. Lots and lots of moisture coming up from the Gulf of California that was in place. And then we had this upper level low pressure system that actually moved in from the east towards the west. That's unusual. We usually see that in the wintertime, those lows move from west to east. But given where our high pressure system was, this one snuck in from the east towards the west. That's going to destabilize the atmosphere. It's going to lift a lot of moisture all at once, and that rain's going to fall out in large, widespread areas.
All right. Every time you're on the show, I ask if this rainfall is going to make a dent in the drought. What do you say this time?
This event in particular was you couldn't have designed a better drought buster. I mean, and I should back up. It didn't bust the drought, but if you're working on trying to improve short-term drought conditions, this is exactly the way you do it. It was long duration, widespread, and moderate rainfall. So it ended up putting down lots and lots of water in the soil. So that's really going to improve short-term drought conditions. But we really are in both short-term drought and long-term drought. So this is just the beginning of solving that long-term drought problem. We're going to need to do this, a couple more, not that particular event, but just getting some rain through the rest of the season at average levels would be great. Then we're already looking forward to next winter. We really need to see that kind of wintertime precipitation, snowpack at the upper elevations to start to work on the longer term drought conditions across the region.
All right, it's time to break out that Homer's bucket and try to harvest some of the water. Now, last time you were on the show, you were talking about wildfires. This rainfall, does it do anything for the Southwest when it comes to the wildfire risk that we know so well here in the desert?
Yeah, it pretty much shut it down. And this is what we rely on for wildfire management in the Southwest is the arrival of monsoon moisture and then the precipitation to really shut down those wildfire conditions. And it did it. It did it early again. It did it on time, and that allowed a lot of resources being tied up in the Southwest to be released to move to other parts of the West so they could fight the fires that are erupting all across the West.
All right, we have a few more press releases coming from the Weather Service here in Tucson saying the rain is coming. Won't be similar to what we have seen, but what do you predict about the coming weeks?
Oh, I'm a climatologist, so we're kind of right at the peak of the monsoon activity through the first week of August. We usually get a couple more rounds of events. There'll be some dry periods in there as well. That's fairly normal. And then once you get into the beginning of September, the northern hemisphere starts to remember that fall is coming, and so the monsoon starts to retreat. So I'm really hopeful that we can at least get through August with a couple more good rain events, keep those rainfall totals up, and then we'll get to the end of the season with hopefully above average rainfall.
All right, and every drop certainly helps. All right, Dr. Mike Crimmins from the University of Arizona, thank you.
Thank you.